Tonight was a great example of our inexperience and our youth, and playing against a team that is a very well coached team that was outstandingly prepared in Robert Morris. And this is a great learning lesson for us early in the season. It certainly is a bitter loss because we have very high expectations to win every single game, and frankly, it's the county game, and we didn't play it for a number of years, and I'm really glad that we are playing this game. I think it's important for girls basketball in the area, and I think it's a good game for the two universities. Unfortunately, tonight we came out a little bit short, but kudos goes to Robert Morris and their outstanding preparation for this game.
When you mention learning and the inexperience, what are those takeaways that kind of come to mind from the 40 tonight, Dan?
There's so many right now, and if you talk long, you talk wrong. So I'll try to keep it really short. They were outstanding in being physical with our post players, and frankly, only Harriet Ford was able to handle the physicality within the post. We got stood up and had no freedom of movement, which is actually a point of emphasis with the NCAA this year, but for some reason we didn't have freedom of movement while we tried to cut, and we had no second effort there. It was something that we discussed in practice the last 2 days, and some of that is a lack of strength and being young as compared to, there's a 4 or 5 year age difference. There's certainly a lot of strength and conditioning years that we don't have yet, and it's a great lesson that when we're a little tired in the weight room, we got to push through some things, and then when we get on the floor and we're being bodied the way they did, we have to be more physical, and we have to have greater second efforts. So that's in the post. I thought that we shied away from contact, driving it to the basket, and tried to score instead of just driving the ball up through their nose and getting the foul and getting to the free throw line. Those are two areas. Defensively, I thought we did some really good things. I thought they had some outstanding offensive sets that they ran against us that got what is her name? Noah Given, number 32, to get her open, and I thought she played outstanding. But we have a lot to work on in a young season.
One of those bright spots you mentioned was Harriet, and obviously you're extending her as she's getting familiar with the court again. Just how happy are you with the post presence that she displayed specifically in that fourth quarter, Dan, and just as she continues to move forward?
I don't want to have to play Harriet Ford 25 minutes a game, and I shouldn't have to do that. We had to abandon a little bit of our five in and 5 out substitution pattern because we couldn't find a way to score with some of the lineups we put on the floor. That is my responsibility, and that is my fault. We did not do a very good job, and that means me. I did not do a very good job tonight of rotations and putting the right people on the floor in the right position. So that falls all on me. With Harriet, she was outstanding tonight with 6 for 9 with a double-double. But we're turning the ball over. Part of what we do is about turning other people over in deflections and wearing people down. We cannot turn the ball over 22 times and expect to win and shoot 3 for 16 from the three-point line. We're not going to win. And so those are things that we have to correct. We have to shoot it better. We have to run some quick hitters for our shooters. Some people have to identify and understand what is a good shot, what is not a good shot, and then we have to have greater ball security. And again, young season, we'll get there, but we expect to win them all. But this is a great learning lesson for our kids tonight.
Coach, towards the end of the first half, beginning of the second half, the press was a good way for you guys to be able to claw your way back into this one. However, they kind of started to break away from it and kind of learn how to break it. Do you attribute that to them doing a good job breaking that, or do you think that you saw stuff during the press that you thought could be fixed going forward?
Well, you're not going to be successful pressing a good basketball team. You're going to give up some shots, and I think we only gave up 1 or 2 layups, and one of them was in the first quarter. I thought overall the press was pretty good. The problem was once we turned them over, We then turned the ball over ourselves, and we can't continue to do that. And so I had no problems with us defensively, how the press was. Some of our coverages in the half-court D could have been a little bit better. We identified them as somewhat being out of control sometimes on drives, going off of 1 foot in the lane, and I think we only had 2 charges. I think we could have done better there. But the simple matter of the fact is we got out tough tonight by grown women, and we have a bunch of freshmen and sophomores that have to understand about second efforts and about it's going to be like a fist fight every night going forward. And great learning lesson again.
Aislinn Malcolm obviously was their leading scorer. You're happy with the 2 for 7, the 7 points, but obviously the ball bounced her way at the most important play, arguably, of the game, the N1 play. Just how pleased were you overall with the defensive effort on her, and just maybe others stepping up in her stead as well?
Well, we face guarded Aislinn because she was averaging 19 points a game, and we thought that would disrupt them. It disrupted Aislinn somewhat. She didn't get hers tonight. But that's, she's not going to when she's face guarded. With that being said, we certainly didn't guard 32 Given very well. And Ava LaRue, I thought, played an outstanding game with making good decisions and having great ball security and understanding her role on the floor. And, you're going to have games like this. And it sucks. It's not fun in any sort of way. But you can't rant, you can't rave, you can't blame it on referees or anything like that. You have to look at what the root causes of this was. And 20 minutes after this game, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding and handle of what we didn't do well. But we're still going to need to go watch the film and build a consensus amongst my coaching staff. And we'll do that over the next couple days. And the good thing is we don't play till Monday. And we have a really good locker room with really good kids who believe they're always going to win. And we'll see how they react to this on Thursday. But I feel confident in them.
You never like to lose. You said that from the jump in your opening statement, Dan. But how important is it that it's early, it's non-conference, and there's plenty of time to find answers and responses to that?
Basketball's not a zero-sum game unless you're at UConn. Everyone's going to take a loss or 2 or 3, and let's be frank. For Robert Morris, this was an important game. They hadn't beat us in a long time, and we established this rivalry, this series again. And it's good for both programs. It's good for this city, and they got a bunch of kids that wanted to show that that they were going to have success, and they did that. And we came up a little bit short. You have to give them credit. They did a great job tonight. They were really well prepared for us. They blew up every out of bounds play that we ran. We didn't get shots that we would normally want. In the third and fourth quarter, we started to bring the post player up to the free throw line area, and we started to have a little bit more success that way. But those are things that I have to identify earlier and have a solution for, and I didn't do that. And so this one's on me just as much as it is our lack of effort on offense, our lack of toughness. Not lack of effort, our lack of toughness on offense. This one goes on me.
Coach, you talked about this loss being learning lessons. What do you think will be the biggest lesson as you head into practice next time, as you get ready for your next game?
Well, for 2 days I talked to them about how physical their post play was going to be, and they were going to stand us up. And apparently we didn't believe what I said because we had, or we're just not physically tough enough to understand that there has to be a second effort. You may not be as strong as your opponent in the post, but if you give that second effort, there's a thing called freedom of movement. That's a NCAA directive that people have to have freedom of movement to cut. And we weren't able to do that tonight. And we had to fight more, and we did not do that. So that's going to be a big teaching point and a big learning point as we go forward. It's kind of the things I mentioned already. We can't roll off contact and double pump in the lane. We need to go up through contact to get to the free throw line, especially when we weren't scoring. We for us to really get good in the game, we have to score and get into our press. And once we do that, we develop rhythm. And we really never got into a rhythm because even when we turned them over, we turned the ball back over to them. And so we got to have greater ball security. We got to be tougher in the post. We've got to be stronger and tougher at the guard play, driving it to the basket. And these are correctable things that we need to do. And I believe we'll do it. We've got a great locker room. We've got great kids. They're just really young. We've got a bunch of freshmen and sophomores.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate everyone being here tonight. We had a really good crowd. Robert Morris was a great host, and we look forward to playing Robert Morris next year in the county game. Thank you.